Hello everyone, I am Mr. Sunil Kumar from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, AJIET Mangalore. I am teaching you the course Finite Element Analysis. Until now, we have completed three modules and we are dealing with the contents of fourth module, that is Analysis of Heat Transfer. In the last class, we have learnt about basics of heat transfer, the basic equations such as energy balance equations and rate equations, and we have learnt about the basics of conduction, convection, and radiation, and the related rate equations also we have seen. In this class, we shall learn about few things such as differential equations for 1D heat conduction and the related finite element formulations, which is helpful for solving the problems. So we shall move on. This is the second video in module 4. You can consider it as video 4.2. So firstly, we shall study about the differential equation for 1D heat conduction. What is differential equation? Differential equation is an equation that governs the equilibrium of the system. It may govern the compatibility of the system. It governs the boundary condition of the system. Here, differential equation is taken to govern the equilibrium of the system. What is 1D heat conduction? 1D means the flow of heat in one direction. The flow of heat in one direction is taken. That is known as 1D analysis. The element or the geometrical structure of the substance taken may be anything. It may be two-dimensional or three-dimensional or one-dimensional. But the analysis is 1D. That is what we have studied in analysis of bars. To study the heat conduction, let me consider the figure shown here. This is the wall taken. The wall is like this. Let us consider the left face and the right face like this, and in between let me consider the small length dx, in which we will concentrate the flow of heat. This is the wall of uniform cross section and area is A. The cross sectional area is A. Let us consider unit area, and this becomes, if it is a unit area of negligible thickness, this becomes a 2D structure, but the heat is flowing in only one direction. So analysis is 1D. Even though the wall which is seen here is like 2D, it is like a plate, but still the analysis is 1D because the heat is flowing in one direction. Okay. Now let us consider a small elemental length dx. Let qx be the heat flux flowing into that small elemental length, flowing in, and due to the length dx, qx plus differential amount of qx because of the length dx be the amount of heat flux leaving that small elemental uh, length, length of the wall dx. This is the heat flux flowing in, this is the heat flux flowing out. So heat flux into area is considered for equilibrium of the system. Now internal heat generation be QA dx. Let QA dx be the internal heat generation. That is what said here. Let Qx be the heat flux entering the plane wall. As I said, it is a plane wall. Qx plus differential amount of Qx with the heat flux leaving the wall. QA dx is the heat rate generated per unit volume. Heat rate generated per unit volume. Unit volume because we have considered unit area also. Now, for the equilibrium of the system, this amount of heat flux plus internal heat generated should be equal to the amount of heat leaving. I'll repeat, the amount of heat flux entering the wall plus heat generated should be equal to the amount of heat flux leaving that portion of the wall. That is the concept of equilibrium of the body. Then it is considered that the entire system is in equilibrium, which means Qx plus Qx is the amount of heat inlet, capital Q into A dx, where capital Q is heat rate generated. It depends on the area and the length dx, plus the amount of heat leaving the wall. So plus the internal heat plus this heat generated should be equal to the amount of heat leaving the wall. That is, heat entering plus heat generated should be equal to the amount of heat leaving the wall. This is the equation for equilibrium. But we have studied in the last class that Fourier's law of conduction for heat flux is given by Fourier's law of conduction for heat flux is given by Qx is equal to minus K of surface into dt by dx. What is this K? That is the material property, conductivity, conductive coefficient of the material. Then, therefore, when we substitute this equation into this equation, wherever Qx is there, I will substitute minus K into dt by dx. dt by dx is the temperature gradient, change in temperature per change in dimension. Therefore, replacing wherever Qx is there, I will replace minus K into S dt by dx. Here also the same, and here also the same. Then by simplifying the same, we can write the expression for Q. Then by simplifying, we can write the expression for Q as like this. Q is equal to minus d by dx into K dt by dx, or dy dx of K into dt by dx plus Q is equal to 0 is the governing differential equation for one-dimensional heat conduction. Dy dx into dt by dx of K, or d square t by dx square, that is double differentiation of the conductivity plus the rate of heat flow will be equal to 0. Q is considered to be positive if heat is generated, which is known as source. Q is considered to be negative if heat is consumed, then it is known as sink. So this equation is the equation for differential equation for equilibrium of the one-dimensional heat conduction in case of plane wall. So this expression, this derivation, this concept is asked many times in the exam. It is the regular question in the exam. So students, I request you to go through this topic. It is asked for 4 to 6 marks many times. You have to just explain about heat conduction. You have to explain about conduction. You have to write some theory concepts about conduction. Then you have to proceed if it is asked for more marks, or if it is asked for 4 marks, then you can write this much amount which I have explained you just now. Okay, now we shall study about analysis of 1D heat transfer in walls. 1D, again I told you, one directional heat flow in walls, especially which is subjected to conduction mainly. Now we have studied about 1D bars. we have studied about 1D beams. 1D beams means the beam element is taken as 1D. Here also, in bar also, bar element is taken as 1D. While in heat transfer, element may be taken as 1D or 2D, as we have seen in the earlier case. We can take the bar element itself, or we can take plate element also. It doesn't matter, but we should know that the direction analysis is 1D. The direction of heat flow is only one dimensional. That is very important concept. Now let us consider the number of finite element equations that are required to solve the problems. The first equation is conduction matrix for heat conduction. Here, instead of stiffness matrix, we call it as conduction matrix. Instead of stiffness matrix, we call it as conduction matrix. So, we have seen in bar, the stiffness matrix for bar was given as K is equal to A into E by L 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. Here also, at each node, if we take a single element of having two nodes at least, if we take a single heat conduction element of having two nodes, at each node the degree of freedom will be 1. At each node degree of freedom will be 1. What is the degree of freedom? That is the direction of heat flow. We determine the temperature. Temperature will be variable here. In bars, displacement is the variable, U is the variable. In heat transfer, temperature is the variable, T. Temperature T is the variable. We have seen variable in trusses is different, variable in beams are different, variable in torsional elements are different, variable in bars are different. Here variable is T. T is that which is going to vary. So at each node 1 degree of freedom, that is heat flow only in one direction, that is in the X direction, transverse direction. So here, similar to that of bar element, the stiffness matrix K is given as A into K by LE 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. The size of the stiffness matrix is 2 cross 2, because as I told you, at each node degrees of freedom is 1. Therefore, there are two nodes. Total degree of freedom per element is 2. Stiffness matrix or conduction matrix is written for element, not for node. So per element there are two nodes. So 2 degrees of freedom. Therefore, the size of the stiffness matrix is 2 cross 2. In place of Young's modulus E, where we use in bars, here we are replacing E by K. K is also the material property, that is the conductivity of the material. Conductivity, the ability of the material to have the conduction, is known as conductivity. The conductivity of the material is the material property which is replaced here. In bar we write AE by LE, in heat transfer we write AK by LE 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. Okay, this is about the conduction matrix for the one directional 1D heat conduction. Suppose along with conduction, please listen to this concept very carefully, because there are number of expressions. We have to use each expressions carefully while doing the analysis. So along with conduction, if there is end convection means the surface is insulated and there is only convection at the end. There is conduction inside the material. Surface is insulated where there is no convection, but at the end of the member there may be convection, which is known as end convection. I think you have learnt all these things. If end convection is there, we have to add one convection matrix to this conduction matrix. That convection matrix is given by H into A. That A is cross sectional area, not surface area, because at the end there is cross section. So H is convectivity, convection coefficient or convectivity of the material in watt per meter square Kelvin or watt per centimeter square Kelvin or whatever. Area is the cross sectional area of the member into, again it is 2 cross 2 because degrees of freedom is 2, 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. This is applicable if right hand is having free convection. If right hand is having free convection, we have to write 1 at the K22 position. This is K11, K12, K21, K22. K22 position is having 1 if right hand is having convection. At the same time, if left hand is having convection, 1 is written at K11 position. If left hand is having convection, 1 is written at K11 position. Now, suppose there is conduction plus end convection, then the global conduction matrix is written as the conduction matrix of element plus convection matrix of element. The major thing is conduction here. Don't think that I am explaining about conduction and why I am telling about convection. The major thing is conduction plus there is some amount of convection. We are studying about conduction only in one direction plus there is some amount of convection. Then we have to add this. That is why it is a small amount, that is H into A. It is added only at one position. At this end if right hand is having free convection, at this end if left hand is having free convection. So total global conduction matrix, this is elemental. So if I write global, it is AKYLA 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. This is for conduction and this is for convection. Both are having same degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 only. So respective 1 is added with 1. This is added with this element. This is added with this member. This is added with this element. Direct addition. There is no worry about any other thing. So the final answer what we get is the global conduction matrix of that particular element. If there are two elements, then we have to have this conduction matrix for one element, again for other element, and then we have to write global conduction matrix. I will teach you while solving the problem. Okay, don't worry about those things. Now suppose if there is 1D heat conduction with convection and internal heat generation, with convection and internal heat generation, then we have to add this content to the conduction matrix. What is this? If there is internal heat generation and convection, what type of convection? The surface convection, not the end convection. Surface convection. It is not mentioned end convection. It is simply mentioned convection, which means it is not insulated. Then we have to write H into P into L. P is perimeter. Perimeter into length gives surface area. Perimeter into length gives surface area by 6 2 1 1 1 2 1 1 1, where P is perimeter as I told. This is the condition if there is surface convection. Earlier thing was end convection. This is surface convection. Now that is about the conduction matrix. Conduction matrix for one element. Whatever I have explained to you, it is for one element until now. Now the force vector. The force vector due to end convection. Force vector due to end convection. When the force vector is always due to convection only. Force vector is written always due to convection. If there is end convection, the force vector due to H means convection, end convection is given by, I written end convection. It is not about general convection, end convection. If there is end convection, it is given by A H T infinity. T infinity means temperature of the surrounding. 0 1 0 1 1 is written at the bottom if right hand convection is there, if there is right hand convection. Similarly, the end convection, the force vector for end convection is written as AST infinity into 1 0. Instead of writing 0 1, we write 1 0 if left hand is having free convection. It is for end convection. If left hand is having free convection. Listen to this concept very carefully, my dear students. I am talking about end convection and surface convection. This is about end convection. If left hand is convected, then AHT infinity 1 0. Now, force vector due to general convection. This is not end convection. If there is general convection, we have to add one more force vector. I have not written end here suffix. It is force vector due to general convection. Then it is given as H T infinity, that is the temperature of the surrounding, into perimeter into length by 2 1 1. We have to remember these expressions. We have to remember these expressions. Force vector due to end convection is different. Again, it depends on whether right hand is convected or left hand is convected. Force vector due to general convection, that is surface convection, is different. It is H T infinity PL by 2. 1 1 is the expression for force vector due to due to general convection. Now there is one more force vector which is due to internal heat generation. If there is internally heat generated, we write one more force vector. If there is internal heat generated, Q bar is the internal heat generated. Q bar is the internal heat generated, and the force vector for internal heat generated is given by internally generated heat into area, cross-sectional area, into length. Cross-sectional area into length gives the volume of the element. The internal heat generated per volume. Internal heat is generated per volume. Remember this. End convection is per cross-section area. Surface convection is for surface area. Whereas internal heat generation is for volume of the member given, volume of the element chosen. Okay, it is given by Q bar AL by 2 1 1. Q bar AL by 2 1 1. Next, the equilibrium of the given equilibrium equation is given by, we know in bar we have written equilibrium equation as K into Q is equal to F. KQ is equal to F. Similarly, here also the expression for equilibrium is K into, in place of Q we write T. T is the temperature vector. Is the temperature vector. Temperature is the unknown variable that we have to find here. What we are going to find in the entire analysis of heat transfer is, we find temperature vector, temperatures at each nodes. Temperature is nodal. This is conduction matrix. Global conduction matrix is K. Global conduction matrix is K. This is temperature vector, and this is force vector. The force vector may be due to any one of the thing, anything given. If there is end convection only, you have to choose only end convection force vector. If there is both end convection and surface convection, we have to add both the things, both force vector for end and surface convection. If there is additionally, if there is internal heat generation, we have to add one more force vector. Whichever is there, we have to add all those things. Or if any one of them is there, we have to consider any one of the things. So the equilibrium equation is given by K into T is equal to F. Now we have to apply boundary condition. The boundary condition is similar to that of bars. It may be either elimination method or penalty method. Elimination or penalty method. I will explain you while solving the problems. And find this temperature, which is unknown variable. This is how we will solve for temperatures in heat in 1D heat conduction. What we have learnt until now is, I will go through once again. We have learnt about conduction matrix. Similarly, this matrix is for end convection, which is added. Again, it depends on right or end convection. At the same time, one more matrix. This is for surface convection. There are three types of force convections. One is for end convection. Other is for end convection if left hand is there. Other one for surface convection, and one more for internal heat generation. There are three types of force vectors, and this is the equilibrium equation. I believe that you have understood all these concepts, and these equations are very important to solve the problems. Now, whatever I have done in this class, in this video, any one of the things will be definitely asked in the exam. The concept of one directional heat conduction, the differential equation of equilibrium is asked most of the times. Please go through that and solve for it, and go through the expressions which I have given. These are very important. In textbook, you may find a little difficult to find these things because there will be a lot of confusions with respect to notations. So I have presented you. So take these things and learn. I hope you have understood. Thank you so much. Thank you.